Hello, kids. I just saw another guy in a Ninja go flying past. I doubt I'm going to catch up with him from here, because he was bolting like a rocket. So, let me go around this lady, because she'll take forever to get out of there. Slow down, princess. It's a friggin' parking lot, for Christ's sakes. Jeez. You know, there's so many differences between South Jersey and North Jersey, but every single one of these drivers are still New Jerseyans. And even though I've been my whole life, these people suck at driving, man. I'll tell you that much. Like, it just scares me how many of these people have friggin' driver's licenses. So, I did counter steering and turning. So, now that you know how to turn the bike, you might as well know how to get it going and stop it. Stopping is a lot easier than getting it going. The one tip, well, a couple of tips that I'd have to say about stopping are do not use only your front brake. I almost completely use my rear brake, just out of habit. When I first started to ride, a couple of months ago, I was taking a nice slow left-hand turn, and I thought I was going too fast. So I hit the brake, the front brake rather, and being that my wheel was tilted, my front brake kind of caught, and my front tire stopped. My rear tire wanted to keep going, and it threw me to the ground like the pavement was a friggin' magnet. So if you got to slow down during a turn, I think it was Rebel Yell was one of the other guys I was watching the YouTube videos. Him and More Death 13, and the funny guy, Captain Crash in Idaho, excuse me. Yeah, these guys all know what they're doing, and I believe that I believe they've been riding a lot longer than I have. But they gave me some good, they gave up some good tips and some good clues on how to be safe and how to do right. Tip number one is if you gotta brake on a turn, use your rear brake. You use your front brake, and you're gonna smack that pavement something awful. And I'll tell you, no matter how fast or how slow you're going, you hit that concrete, and it hits back, man. It don't like you. Yeah, I should have downshifted there. So that's another thing that nobody really tells you about is when to downshift, when to upshift, when to pick up speed. If you're slowing down in traffic, wow, that wind's bad. I hope there is no tornado, because this would suck. If you're making a turn, you're going to want to take the turn in either first or second gear. You don't need fourth gear to take a turn, because once your engine's going to be going so slow that it's not really going to bite anything. It's not going to catch, and you're just going to kind of sputter and stutter and stuff like that. So what you're going to want to do is downshift. So if you're making a regular 90-degree turn at an intersection or whatever, your downshift is going to be basically the second gear. I mean, you can turn in first gear. You still get push in second gear, so you really don't need to go all the way down to first. If you're in traffic and the guy just like before at that Wawa there, some guy was making a turn and I had to slow down to get around him, but I didn't downshift. So when I started to get going again, I had a little bit of trouble with that because I didn't have enough momentum in the tranny. So so if you got to slow down, you're going to have to downshift to something. So I'm in first now, second, and now I'm just going to hold off, tap the back brake, lean into it, and now I don't need to downshift anymore because I'm already there. Now if I get up to these guys in third, this is third gear, I get up to them and now I'm slowing down. So now they're going to stop and slow down. Now I'm going to downshift again because see how slow I'm going? I'm doing 2,000 or 1,500, 1,800 RPMs. I go, and it like drags. It's like, ugh, I don't want to do this. You downshift a second, and you're off and running. You're good to go. So that's downshifting in a nutshell. You can start off in second gear. You don't need to start off in first gear. There's really no reason to start off in second gear, but if by any chance you forgot to click it another notch down and you start off in second gear, it's not a big deal. So acceleration. Let me pull over real fast so I can show you acceleration. Acceleration's really simple. The only thing you have to do is practice. There's a spot called the friction zone, which is basically if the clutch is all the way open or all the way closed, the friction zone is somewhere in between. So I'm in neutral now. I'm going to squeeze the clutch in, put it into first. Now you bring up the revs a little bit, and now you start letting go of the clutch. And now the bike's starting to move. That's the friction zone. That's the beginning of your friction zone. So when you first get a bike, you're gonna want to do that over and over and over again, because I can't tell you how many times I wasn't giving it enough revs, or I was opening the clutch too quickly or not quickly enough, and the bike would just crap out and stall on me. So you give it a little bit of revs, you start letting go in your clutch, and the bike will start to roll on you. Then you squeeze in the clutch, stop it, you roll your bike back again, you do the same thing over and over again. Forward, brake, you bring it back. Forward, brake, you bring it back. Forward, brake, you bring it back. And you just keep doing that over and over again until you get used to the friction zone. Because that's how you get the bike moving. So if any stop sign, red light, coming out of your driveway, whenever you need to get the bike moving, you need to use the friction zone. But that's one of the hardest things for people to learn. So now when you clutch up, when you shift up, you don't need to use the friction zone for each gear. So you'll be riding, you drop it's going to be one quick motion. It's going to be, you're going to be revved up, your clutch is going to be open, and what you're going to do is, let's see if I can get it in there, is this. So you're going to drop the throttle and squeeze the clutch at the same time. It's going to look like this on your hands. So I'm going to be revved up and I'm going to go like this as I squeeze in. So you know what I mean? So every time you squeeze the clutch in, you need to drop the throttle. So you don't need, so that's another thing. You don't need to brake to slow down. All you need to do is get off the throttle and squeeze the clutch in. Once you squeeze the clutch in, you're disengaging the transmission. You're disengaging the rear wheel from the engine. You're not going to propel yourself any more than you already are. It's basically coasting. It's like neutral. But to shift, you're gonna be up here, and you're gonna want to bam. So you're gonna do one of these things. You're gonna be riding down on it with open clutch. I only use 2 fingers for the clutch because I need to, I want to grab onto the hand grip. You can use one. Most people use one to throw a wheelie, to clutch up a wheelie, but you don't want to use a friction zone release. You don't want to go nice and slow. You kind of want to hold it there with your finger and then snap it out like that, and that'll get your front wheel up. But that's a whole nother thing. I'm still practicing that, so don't worry about that. But yeah, so what you want to do is one of these things. So you're gonna be revved up, and you're gonna kill the throttle and squeeze the clutch, and then as you do that, you're gonna shift up with your foot. So, and you just keep doing that for each gear. Now, you don't need 6th gear on a street like this. You know, on a highway, I mean, I can hit 6th gear, but there's really no reason to. So, again, I'm in 1st gear. I'm going to throttle it up. So, I'm at like 1,800 RPMs. Yeah, 1750, 1,800 RPMs for the gas, for the throttle, and I'm going to just bring it up to about 3 or 4, and we're going to slowly start letting the clutch out. And now we're rolling. There's no cars. Alright, so this is 1st gear, and now 2nd gear. I'll do it again. 3rd gear. 4th gear. 5th gear. Okay? Now every time you want to shift, you don't need to squeeze in the clutch. That's what they call granny shifting. It's basically you just hold your foot on the gear shift and you just jam it through the gearbox. But you know, the reason that they put a clutch in here is so you can clutch, so you don't have to screw up your gearbox. Braking is very similar to accelerating, except in reverse. See, I just dropped down to 3rd gear. So now I'm in 3rd gear. I want to slow down some more. I hit it into 2nd gear, and that'll slow me down some more. So I'm going to make this quick U-turn here. Crap it into 1st gear. Yeah, I said crap it. That's right. That's another thing about South Jersey. There's all this sand and gravels on the side of the road. I can't stand that. See, now if I would have hit the front brake there, I would have went flying. Alright, shut my blinker off. Alright, so accelerate. So we're going to accelerate. And back brake. Now I skidded a little bit with that, but not much. We'll do it again. Accelerate. See the mailbox? Doing 25 miles an hour. And hit the mailbox. So, I mean, your back brake will stop you. You don't need to use both brakes to stop. The only reason I'm not using my front brake right now are my pads are a little low and I'm starting to hear a little bit of grinding and I got to get it over to the shop. But your front brakes will do just the same, especially with an emergency stop. Just when you're going to grab your front brake, don't jam it, because your front brake will squeeze squeeze the wheel so well that it'll just stop, you know, and then you'll wind up doing an endo, or a stoppie as they call them. All right, so off we go. We're gonna hit 2nd gear, 3rd gear, 4th gear. See, now I'm not braking now. The only thing I did was I stopped using the throttle and I squeezed the clutch in, and now I'm just coasting. Now I'm slowing down enough, and my revs have dropped down enough. Now I'm in 4th gear still. So if I try and go now, it's going to be really choppy. So downshift to 3rd, downshift to 2nd, and now you got acceleration. So just take your time with it. You know, acceleration and stopping is not as difficult as turning, I'll tell you that much. But the one thing that you should always practice with, you know, if you're sitting at a red light and you're bored, you should practice your friction zone. Just sit there and just wind it up and catch your release. Just open it up till you start rolling, squeeze it back in. Open it up till you're rolling, squeeze it back in. And just keep practicing with that. And that alone will get you a long way, especially if you're a beginner. Because I'll tell you something, it kicked my ass. I mean, I had to go get the bike recharged because I stalled it so much from not knowing that friction zone. So take your time with it and be safe. Talk to you later. Good luck.